Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee, and this is a show where we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. You can listen to Dayspring Discussions on iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic, Patreon, Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever, guys. While you're there, you can go ahead and rate, review, subscribe. Then head on over to the Facebook group and Twitter account and join in the discussion. Welcome to a sunny day here in Austin, Texas. It's Thursday. It's been a little bit of an odd week than it has been lately for me, mainly because my wife and I have been home redoing the office this week. We painted, we tore up the carpet, and then we paid someone to come in and lay down some flooring for us, and then we had to move everything back into the office. And it's been a bit of an odd week than what it normally has been. Normally it's been, my wife's working from home. I'm at home with my daughter going through schoolwork, keeping her busy during the day. A little more relaxed with her on the schoolwork for this week, just making sure she turns in her assignments. So next week, her last week of school, actually, it'll be interesting to see exactly, again, what my wife does with my daughter when she's going to be home with her the rest of the summer and she's trying to work. I've had a nice day here so far. Like I said, just kind of moving stuff back into the office. It's great because, me and my wife were Star Wars fans, obviously, if you listen to the show. So in our office, we've had a bunch of Star Wars stuff. And then my wife, who's a Harry Potter fan, we also had Harry Potter stuff. So we thought about it, or she thought about it at least, and we're making the office strictly Star Wars. So anything Star Wars we have around the house is going into the office. It's going to be strictly Star Wars. Her Harry Potter stuff, she just put up in the bedroom. So like half of the bedroom is Harry Potter, and then if you look on the other half, it's superhero stuff, because I have Superman and Justice League and some Green Lantern. It's interesting how the room looks here in the bedroom now. But like I said, it's been a fun day. My daughter and I actually went and jumped on a trampoline. We got one of these little sprinkler things you put on the top of it, so when you're jumping you get sprayed, and we had a good old time getting some exercise, cooling off, because it is heating up here. It is mid-May, so it's heating up quite a bit here in Austin. So hope you guys are out enjoying your week. I got something I want to talk about. Now, originally I wanted to kind of talk about the Taika Waititi taking over and doing a Star Wars movie. I know it's old news. It's over a week old. That was announced back on May 4th. And that's originally what I was going to talk about on today's show. But some news that got me excited popped up a couple of hours ago. Facebook member Mike Fuller put it up on the Facebook group. As soon as I saw it, I was excited about it. I went to double check, and man, oh man, am I excited. It was a couple of weeks ago that I had heard rumors about Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the book series, possibly coming to Disney Plus as either another movie or even a TV series, possibly. I heard rumors a couple weeks ago. Well, the book author, Rick Riordan, is that how you say his name? Riordan. I'll call him Rick, just so I don't mess that up. Anyway, he hopped on Twitter earlier, him and his wife, and basically announced that they're working with Disney Plus to bring us a Percy Jackson series. Now, on his Twitter page, he says, quote, "Hey, Percy Jackson fans, for the past decade, you've worked hard to champion a faithful on-screen adaptation of Percy Jackson's world. Some of you have even suggested it would be a great series for Disney Plus. We couldn't agree more." So there you have it, straight from the author's social media page, that his beloved series is going to go to a Disney Plus series. Now, allegedly, almost like with Game of Thrones, you'd almost say, where each book is going to be put into its own season. And, we got at least 5 books, so 5 seasons, you're thinking, if people like it. I'm on board with this. Like I said, I'm a fan of the series. So it was back in, 2009, 2010? Where did the movie come out? The movie came out in 2010. So I saw the trailer for it, and I thought it was pretty cool. So I went to the public library, got the book, and by the time the movie came out, Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, I had already read all 5 books, and I was excited for the film. Directed by Chris Columbus, who did the first 2 Harry Potter movies. He also did Home Alone as well, directed Home Alone 2, had a great cast, had Pierce Brosnan, Uma Thurman, Sean Bean, Logan Lerman, a young man who I've been following his career for a while now, going all the way back to when he was on the WB show Jack and Bobby. I've been watching his career for a long time. He recently was in the Amazon show Hunters. He was the main reason I watched that show, and he also was in the movie Fury with Brad Pitt. I like him as an actor. I followed him for a while, so again, excited for the film. It let me down a little bit, to be honest. After having read the books and how much I enjoyed the books, the film let me down a little bit. Really, what it was, I think it didn't lean into the mythology and the franchise potential of the storyline, because it left out the prophecy that technically is about Percy, or at least a child of the big three gods, and also it left out the whole Chronos. Now, following that, a couple years later, 2013, they did the adaptation for the second book, Sea of Monsters. I gotta be honest, I started watching the film, and I didn't even see it in theaters. And when I rented it, I don't think I even finished it, to be honest, because, again, I was just so disappointed about how the material was treated. Now, this one, of course, they kind of course-corrected, where, again, they brought up Chronos and the prophecy and stuff like that, but those things were supposed to be set up in the first film or first part of the franchise, and they tried to overcorrect. They recasted actors. Pierce Brosnan wasn't in this one. It just seemed really silly, to be honest, and I don't think I even finished the second film. So ever since then, I've been hugely disappointed, hoping that they would try to reinvigorate this franchise, because this is my book franchise. Like my wife, like I said, is a big Harry Potter fan. I'm a Percy Jackson fan. Now, kind of in the same way where she likes Percy Jackson. After I read this series and enjoyed it, she went back and read it as well. She enjoys it not as much as Harry Potter, and same thing. I like this more than I like Harry Potter, so we each have our book series that, we really dig. And to be honest with me too, I mean, part of the reason why I like this too is the main character, Percy Jackson. He is the son of Poseidon, very water-based character, so as a guy, of course, one of my favorite superheroes is Aquaman, mainly because he's a water-based superhero, right? I mean, I'm a swimmer. I grew up a swimmer. I still love the ocean, love the pools, love the water in any form. So any, fantasy superhero type thing that involves, a water-based hero, I'm excited for. Also, this is huge into Greek mythology. So the story I heard was that Rick used to tell his children bedtime stories about Greek mythology. And when he ran out of stories to tell them, he ended up making up his own story in regards to Greek mythology. And that's how he started off the Percy Jackson story. The storyline itself, like I said, it's very, good. Not just because, it's the Greek mythology and it's a water-based hero. The characters are good. As the series goes on, it gets, a little more mature, a little more deeper into it, to where you get to the last Olympian and, you have the big fight with Kronos, the showdown with Luke. It's really something. I will say, out of all of them, my favorite book is probably The Titan's Curse. I like The Last Olympian quite a bit. My least favorite might be Sea of Monsters, really. Either that one or maybe The Lightning Thief. But I think Titan's Curse is my favorite. But in any event, I'm excited because we're getting Percy Jackson back. And the author himself, Rick, said he was a little disappointed with some of the liberties that they took with the films, to where now he's going to be a little bit more involved and hopefully, kind of course correct this franchise for the screen. Disney Plus is a great place to put it. Now, originally the films, they were part of 20th Century Fox. Disney bought 20th Century Fox, so it makes sense. And the fact that it's going to be a series, again, makes me excited more. Taking, the first book and turning it into a season. Now, I don't think you should do like, a Netflix 1 hour, 13 episodes on that one book. It's not that big, I think it's less than 300 pages, if I remember correctly. But it could easily be a Mandalorian style where you get 8 30-minute episodes. Would be great. I think that'd be more than enough time for each season to draw it out, to do it right. And I think it would be a really good way to go about turning this into a series. And there are things, that are always going to be stipulations, of course. yes, the books are there and I enjoy the story, but the adaptation, the actors, the effects, to make good TV, to make good movies, to make anything good like that, it has to be a mixture of it all together. Making sure casting and directing and effects and all that stuff are right, it becomes a big factor. But the idea itself, I am very excited about with that. Now, of course, a little bit of a confession that I know they do have the post series that go on, where you have the sequel series. What is the Heroes of Olympus? I believe it's what it's called. I never got into that one. Honestly, I read the first book and I really couldn't get into it. I don't know what it was, but I just couldn't do it. And then, Rick went on to do other series like the Kane Chronicles, Gods of Asgard, stuff like that. But I never got anything past the original Olympians series. But again, I love the writing, I love the story, I love the characters. I think it's really good, and I'm really excited that it's going to be coming to Disney Plus. I think it's a great spot for it. In the movies, I know they made him a little bit older than what he was supposed to be in the books. I think in the books he was 11 or 12, and I think they made him a little bit older in the movies, which is fine, of course, but not that it mattered at all, too. So I'm curious if they're going to make him maybe a few years older in this one as well. But the fact that it's going to be at Disney Plus, like I said, I'm excited. I think it's the perfect place for it, for this series, and I just hope it is great because, like I said, I want to see something redeem those movies or redeem the series and get more people, a new generation of people excited for Percy Jackson. I do have a little confession before I go too, is, my wife, like I said, Harry Potter fan, and she buys the illustrated versions of the Harry Potter books. I think they're on the fourth one now, and they came out with the Lightning Thief illustrated version that I got for Christmas because I asked for it. They still haven't come up with a second one. It's been over 2 years, so I'm hoping they're going to do all 5 of them in illustrated versions. But my wife and I, want to read these books series that we love to our daughter, and my daughter's not interested. So since I've been spending so much time with her, I decided, okay, I'm going to give it a shot. Told her I wanted to read her the first chapter of The Lightning Thief. And, it's a little bit longer than some of the books as a 7-year-old I would read to her. But I finished chapter 1, and she said she liked it. But she didn't want me to read any more because she was scared when the teacher turned into a siren at the museum. So maybe still a little too young for the series, perhaps. But I think maybe I'll show her this series. If the series comes out in maybe 2 or 3 years, maybe maybe she'll be a little bit older then, and I definitely want her to try to check this out, and we'll go from there and see how that is. I would love it if I could get her hooked on Percy Jackson before my wife could get her hooked on Harry Potter. We'll see how that goes, guys. But that's it. Fire back, of course, in those social media groups and Gmail account. Let me know what you think. Do you think a Disney Plus series is going to be good for Percy Jackson? Did you like the movies? Did you not like the movies? Let me know. Okay, I definitely want to hear it. I don't talk enough Percy Jackson, mainly because I don't meet a lot of people that have read the series. It's one of the lesser known ones. You got your Harry Potters, your Twilights, your Hunger Games, mainly because those are more successful films, and then people then go and read the books. Again, I blame the movies for not getting people more into this story, which is great, this franchise, which is great, these characters, which are great. The movie had all the potential, too. I mean, you had Logan Lerman, who is a good actor. You had Alexander Daddario as Annabeth, Sean Bean, Pierce Brosnan, Rosario Dawson, Catherine Keener. I mean, the cast was there. And it was Chris Columbus, too, Chris Columbus directed it, who directed the Harry Potters and Home Alone. I don't know. I don't think they leaned enough into the material, to be honest. So hopefully this Disney Plus series will do better, guys. But like I said, fire back. Let me know what you think, and we'll go from there, guys. That's it. Have a good one, guys. And until next time, may the Force be with us all.